Real golf, real golf talk. Play it where it lies. A Bash Brothers Media golf show.
This is Play It Where It Lies, show number 2. I'm John Wiener alongside Stuart the Gent Conway, and Stuart played twice this week, the same course, 2 separate days. The first day, I couldn't hold the club. It felt like a rake. And the second day, I felt like Francesco Molinari. What a game.
Yeah, it's a great game. It's a great game. There's one of our guys we were playing with this week. It happened to him in one round.
Really?
Yeah, he started off playing really well and D5 if you're listening out there, and then he just fell away at the end. And he said, I don't even know what to do anymore with a golf club. It's a tough game.
Well, golf puts you in tough spots. We play it where it lies. This is Play It Where It Lies, driven by Gulf States Golf Cars. He's Stuart Conway. Get him on Twitter at Conway's Clubhouse. I'm on Twitter at John Wiener BBM. Of course, the show on Twitter at Bash Bros Media, Facebook.com/Bash Brothers Media. Real golf talk. This is Play It Where It Lies. Coming up in the show, we got a course, Play It, Drop It, Roll It, fun segment that we rolled out last week. Guest Ryan Ballengee with Golf News Now.
Terrific.
Golf News Now is going to join us.
Terrific.
We're going to look at a big issue in golf in our Tough Lies segment, and then, of course, send us out with some punch-outs. But, Stuart, the big headlines of the week, Kevin Kisner and the WGC match play. What a weekend it was.
It was, it was a terrific week down there from Wednesday all the way through. If you're a match play, aficionado, of which I really love to watch match play, and you don't really mind which players are playing, it was terrific. It ended up great. It started from day one with some great matches, great matchups, culminated on probably Saturday, which would have been great for Sunday to have Tiger and Rory playing together, but not the way it worked out. And so, I enjoyed every moment of it. I really did.
There were stories, Tiger Woods flashing Sergio and Kuchar, which we'll get to momentarily, but I don't want to overlook Kevin Kisner. And overlook, Stuart, I think is a good word with Kisner, who kind of is not treated in that, elite class of American golfers, your Justin Thomas, Patrick Reed, Ricky Fowler level. But I don't know that there's many guys I'd want to see less on a Sunday, certainly in a match play, than Kevin Kisner.
Well, yeah, he's not the most dynamic person out there, or the most dynamic personality out there.
No, I mean as a player, I wouldn't want any part of Kevin Kisner on the other side. That's what I mean.
Getting the wrong way. I'm getting the wrong end of it. Kisner is a strong match play player.
Yeah.
The worst part about him is his darn chewing tobacco and spitting everywhere.
But he goes quick, man. He spits that thing out there and throws it down and bangs it.
He does, but I think you're right. I mean, he's a tough player, and I think one of the past European Ryder Cup captains made the comment that Jim Furyk missed the boat when he didn't pick Kisner last time. And on this performance, and even last year, other than the fact that Bubba Watson whitewashed him last year, he played exceptionally well throughout the tournament. Kisner. Exceptionally well.
2 years in a row, Kisner has surfaced. So Saturday, we had you had something brewing in terms of potentially a Tiger Molinari, a Tiger Matt Kuchar, and it was a strange Saturday. The match that Tiger had with Rory McIlroy sort of delivered in every way, and then you expected Tiger to deliver there against Biergaard on the 18th hole, and who played a phenomenal round. That was a great match as well. But just your thoughts on Tiger?
Tiger sort of proved to me that he still has it, that he still has the capability of doing it. Didn't quite get there. He ran into Lucas Beauregard, who I'm sure surprised everybody.
You're going to say
Tiger
it correctly, aren't you, the whole time? You're not going to be like these bullish Americans who just jump at the chance to say beer garden.
So I think that, the way that Beauregard finished the tournament, the match with Tiger was just phenomenal. Eagles and birdies and putts going in from all over was just really put pressure on Tiger that, we know Tiger he can withstand the pressure. There's no doubt about that.
We'll see. We're going to examine that later on in the show.
I think he can. I think he can.
He sure didn't on 18, Stuart. He chunked it in the bunker. Come on. He left it in the bunker like a 9 handicap.
That might have been the most surprising shot of the whole tournament.
It was
that one there. It was a dreadful shot. It was get it on the green and 2-putt, and the guy's got the same shot.
Yeah.
Just a little bit closer. On the green, a 2-putt, which is what Beauregard did and what Woods didn't do, you know. So it was a tough shot. It was a tough shot.
And you know, the storyline that kind of rose up and became bigger than really most of the action Saturday, Sunday. Your guy, Sergio Garcia, and the man, I know he's not your guy at all, but this is what I've been saying, Stuart, is like everyone wanted to believe that Sergio, when he won at Augusta, either he won because of this or after Augusta it caused this, that he found some sort of inner tranquility and moved on. I thought we have seen, if not now more than ever, it's the same old Sergio. Golfers don't change.
Well, I kind of agree with you. I think there is a psychological change in certain people after they get their first win or their first major or whatever, that they go on to bigger and better things. I would believe the same thing. I would believe that somebody like Ricky Fowler, if he gets a major, will certainly get another one afterwards. Sergio, it's his personality. It's his problem. It's his real problem. I have thoughts on that whole feud between those two. That you know, you can't say that Kuchar was at fault.
No,
in the whole thing, because he played what he said was by the rules. But boy, that guy is going to take some stick over this.
Kuchar is.
Oh gosh, he is. Yeah, I mean it was really sort of one of those things where bad sportsmanship really came to the fore at that point.
What was Kuchar supposed to do?
Well, Kuchar
really, like,
Kuchar is.
What was he honestly going to do? Retroactively say no, it's okay. You can have the hole.
Wait, he didn't have to say anything.
Uh-huh.
I mean, he was the one who went to the referee and said, "I didn't concede that putt," knowing full well what the result of that was going to be, that he was going to be given the hole, and. You know, listen, I'm not making any excuses for Sergio Garcia. Sergio is petulant. He's a man well short of his years.
I love when he came back and did the putter swipe right after that.
But Kuchar really could have done something good for himself in there, particularly after his last not paying his caddy enough money and then settling him with his afterwards and all this and that. He could have done something really positive for his.
But instead here's Mr. Nice Guy smile around with the Skechers embroiled in yet another controversy. And I think that was people's takeaway, is regardless of, it was mostly Sergio, regardless of how much responsibility Kuchar had, at the end of the day, here's Kuchar yet again kind of, I won't say getting exposed. I've talked with some people who feel, all of that kind of, aw shucks personality is really just a facade that Kuchar is.
I think we're beginning to see that.
Well, he's getting exposed a little bit,
Sure.
It just takes Kuchar a while to give somebody something.
It does. It takes us back to, watching Spieth for 20 minutes try to hit a shot in the Open, when he was just sat down and just waited patiently and gave him the thumbs up afterwards, which surprised the heck out of me,
and really kind of energized Spieth into, I thought, changed that round on the Sunday at the Open Championship. And then for what it's worth, Kuchar showed up the next day and didn't make a birdie all day, and Kisner just kind of, that was easy money.
Yeah, that was for
easy money.
Kisner, absolutely
for Kevin Kisner.
Yeah.
One week from Masters Week, which is really exciting. And next week on this show, that means it'll be Play It Where It Lies Masters Edition. I can't wait.
Great stuff.
I can't wait.
Great stuff.
Play It Where It Lies, driven by Gulf States Golf Cars, Highway 51 in Ridgeland. He's Stuart the Gent Conway. I'm John Wiener. Of course, you can get the show Facebook.com/Bash Brothers Media. We're on Twitter @Bash Bros Media, and wherever your podcast platforms are as well, you can listen to us there. Coming up next, a fun segment, a new segment, some PGA Tour, some stuff from your game every day that we're going to tee up or maybe put down and play it, drop it, roll it. This is Play It Where It Lies.
When golf gives and takes away, you play it where it lies.
This is Play It Where It Lies. I'm Stuart the Gent Conway alongside John Wiener. And we're back coming up to our Play It, Drop It, Roll It section, John.
Yeah, golf kind of puts you in tough spots, and it's all about, how you deal with them and whether or not sometimes you want to play it like this, or I'm going to say, no, I'm going to pass and drop it, and we're going to cut our losses. So that's what we're going to do in this segment. We've got a big statement, and we're going to decide if we like it, we play it. If we don't agree with it, we'll drop it. And there may be a roll in there. You get one roll it.
Roll is like a mulligan, I guess.
Yeah, you kind of, the roll it on courses out here these days. But no, we're going to get one roll it. I have an idea maybe where it will come. But Stuart, let's start with Tiger Woods and back to the discussion that we had briefly in our opening segment. Tiger Woods is no longer a closing threat. Play it, drop it, roll it.
I'm dropping it. I think he is a closing threat. I think that Tiger Woods is going to go from strength to strength now after this match play. I think that he surprised the heck out of me in this match play. He showed he could close at the FedEx Cup last year, winning the Tour Championship. I think it's only a matter of time before he gets back into winning ways, and I'm not talking about major tournaments and things like this. He's going to win again, and he's going to be a threat because there are still those people around him who are going to be intimidated by him.
I'm going to drop it because I think that word you use, intimidation, I think that is gone. And I also think what's happened with Tiger is that ability to expect anything different, as Dan Hicks said, with those big putts at the end. And we saw it, up close on Sunday against Biergaard. I should say it in the right way. It's much more fun to say Biergarden. But Tiger, there he is on the 18th fairway, tied up, all square, wedge in his hand. Nobody you'd want more, you feel like, either hitting that shot or then hitting the comebacker that he eventually had or the 4-footer for par. And he missed both of them. You go back to every tournament last year, was in position on Sunday, didn't get it done. Molinari beat him. Kisner beat him. And I think that part of it is Tiger's game and aging to the point where I don't think he is I think he's a factor on Sunday, but I think both with kind of where his game has slipped, how good everyone else is, a guy like Francesco Molinari is not backing down from Tiger Woods. No. And I think we see a lot of guys on Sunday that say, can Tiger, is it remarkable that he's gotten it where he is? Yeah, and that he's competing, but is he a closing threat, Stuart? I think time and time again we've seen, Tour Championship aside, that he's not.
Well, I'm going to respectfully disagree with you on that. I think that Tiger is going to be there because every week Molinari is not playing every week, Fleetwood is not playing every week, McIlroy, he's not playing match play every week. And I think once he gets to those courses where he's particularly comfortable with and has many wins on, and one coming up just in a couple of weeks' time, he's going to be there, and he's going to be a threat on that last day.
I think he will be there. I think it would be a threat, but that closing ability, that the Sunday it's Tiger and everybody else. That's the element that's missing. That's the old Tiger that is gone and we'll never see again. He can hit it like they can. He can play like he used to, but that aura of invincibility, that closer mentality on Sunday, I think that is sort of irrevocably in the past. Fallen Oak is the best course in Mississippi. Play it, drop it, roll it.
Oh, I'm playing that. I mean, I've always thought Fallen Oak. I mean, it's just it's just a wonderful golf course. The greens are as good as anywhere you're going to see in the country. They keep it in wonderful shape. The layout is great. It's got the right length par threes. It's got the combinations of good par fours, dog legs, bunkering. It's got everything that course has. I love the course. Love to play it. Love to watch golf on it. Kevin Sutherland won this morning.
He did. They couldn't finish up on Sunday because of darkness.
Yeah. So I'm absolutely playing that one.
I'm going to drop it.
Okay.
And because golf for me in North Mississippi in the pine trees, settings like Dancing Rabbit, which is in the news a little bit this week, and we'll talk about here on Play It Where It Lies at some point. But I'm going to go with Old Waverly in West Point, simply because you know how it is with golf courses. It depends what you like. Not everybody's favorite course is the same. Sure. Fallen Oak is certainly, it's not in houses by any means. It's out there in the wilderness, so to speak. But I just think the setting at Old Waverly. The pastoral feel of it all, the surroundings, sort of in the woods and the hills of North Mississippi, by a hair. I go with Waverly. It's not quite as interesting of a golf course as Fallen Oak, but for me, if I had like money to take a person for one day, say you're in Mississippi and I'm gonna take we get a chance to play anywhere for one day, I'm probably gonna choose Old Waverly.
I mean, there's no doubt Old Waverly is a great golf course, always in great shape. I do enjoy playing that golf course too. And it being next door to basically Mossy Oak as well up there now, I mean, that's a great golf trip to go up and play both of those courses. Mossy Oak is a very interesting golf course to play, and I really had a great time up there. I still keep going though back. It's always going to be Fallen Oak for me. There's a lot of personal love in that golf course.
And golf courses are all about your own personal affinity. And if you ask, 6 different golf people in Mississippi, they might give you 6 different golf courses.
Yeah. Okay, so here's a little one here, and this is a very personal one, I think. Fivesomes should be banned from golf. Play it, drop it, roll it.
I'm gonna roll it here.
Oh, I knew you were
gonna use my roll here because, like,
oh, how non-committal, John.
No, it's just I'm not gonna tell people, or you don't want to ever take the stance that like you shouldn't play golf. That like this is bad for the game. You know what I mean? Like I think I don't like fivesomes. I don't enjoy getting put behind a fivesome. But if you have a group of 5 buddies and you go out to the course and people are insisting on splitting you up 3 and 2, I say, nah, let us play 5. Like generally, fivesomes drive me crazy. And then when they stack them one after the other, it gets it can get to be a little much. But there are certain situations, and I think certain type of people now who aren't as serious about the game, Stuart, as you and I, who enjoy playing fives. And hell, they love playing 6 and 7 people. The more, the merrier. And so I'm just all about whatever it takes for someone to enjoy the game. And if that's a fivesome, now I roll it because that means the enjoyability for the people behind you is taken off. But I wouldn't. I'm trying to be sensitive and understanding. Or normally I'd say play it all the way. Fivesomes, like they should. One of them should just be executed when they go out on the course, just like 5, and one of you just knocked off to make 4. But I'm gonna roll it simply because we understand it's a different game for everybody.
Yeah, and I'm gonna play it. Although there's a little analogy
please do.
here.
No, please do.
An analogy in what you said there. In cycling, in track cycling, there is a competition which is called Devil Take the Hindmost, and the person who finishes last on the sprint lap is ejected from the race, and they keep going around until there's only 2 people left.
That sounds fun.
That's it. So you could do that by
we need to adopt that. You're a fivesome, but if you're 5th after 9,
you're gone. I'm going to play it because I think there are more fivesomes out there than you think. It's, there's always that odd man who comes in. What do you do? It's great for playing wolf and things like that. Sixsomes now. I'm dropping sixsomes.
Okay.
But fivesomes I'm okay with. They can still keep up with the pace. That's the whole point. Keep up with pace.
Okay.
So I want to get into slow play right now, but I'm playing fivesomes.
So for the record, fivesomes should be banned from golf. You don't think they should be banned, so you're going to drop that one.
I don't think. Okay. Am I getting it the wrong way around?
It's okay though. I mean, we make things overcomplicated.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Right.
Here's an easy one for you, and it's right up your alley. Francesco Molinari is the best player in Europe. Play it, drop it, roll it.
Wow. I'm playing it right now.
Really?
Yeah.
That surprises me. I thought you were going to go with somebody else.
There's a ton of good players in there in Europe, and when I looked at the last 16, 8 Europeans were in the last 16. There were no Europeans in the final.
Well, they kicked their ass in the Ryder Cup, and they're doing the same on the PGA Tour
8
this year.
Europeans in the last 16. Every one of them a player. Every one of them. I mean, Lucas Beauregard, you can say he's whatever he is. He's the next best thing, the last best thing. I don't know about him.
He's one of a bunch of young Europeans who can play.
There's a lot of good players out there, but the old stalwarts are still there. Old McIlroy, Rose, Stenson, Molinari. They're all there. They're all there and thereabouts. Paul Casey is around, and So it's to pick the best out of that bunch is trying to, I don't know what to say about it. I think that Molinari probably at this moment in time is the best.
I agree with you. I'm going to play it as well, and I'm surprised you didn't go with your countryman, your Englishman, Justin Rose. But Rose, I think, is a good example. And here's how I like to look at questions like this, Stuart. It's like, who in the final group on Sunday am I going to bet on? Or the flip side, if I'm opposite him, who do I not want to play? Right. And for me, on Sunday in a major, with his ability to hit shots and his ability to make big putts, what we saw at the Open, what we saw at the Ryder Cup, what we saw earlier this year, over a Justin Rose, who you and I have talked about this a lot, through 2 decades, as great of a ball striker, what a gentleman. He's got 1 major. He can't get it done on Sunday. Right. Rory McIlroy, who knows betting on this guy? It seems like, in the best position, Rory is at his worst. It's whether it's in the final group or 395 down the fairway with the wedge in. But, I think between Jon Rahm would be up there. He hasn't gotten it done yet. When I look at the whole package and say, who's the European that I don't want to see on Sunday in terms of like that guy on the leaderboard if I'm a player? Yeah. I think it's Francesco Molinari.
I'm going to give you a little flashback here because I think this is one guy, Francesco Molinari, it's one guy that now, after a couple of wins, can go from strength to strength because he really believes now that he belongs there. And I think that's a major part of his game now, the feeling that he belongs in with that company.
He seems to be showing it in every way, and there's a confidence and a belief about him that you certainly don't see in Rory. You don't see the composure in Jon Rahm that you see in Francesco Molinari, and Justin Rose, for whatever reason, just he doesn't seem to have that sort of killer instinct that Molinari seems to display. In some kind of way. These next ones are fun.
These next ones, alrighty. Here's one. They should make Tin Cup a sequel. They should make
a Tin
Cup sequel.
Is that hard? I thought it was
Did that come out okay?
No, it didn't, but whatever. Play it where it lies. I'm going to drop it.
Yeah.
I'm going to drop it. Sequels are dicey to begin with. I don't know what it would be. Like Kevin Costner, he's on tour now. I'm going to drop it. There's been a question sort of floating around, are they going to do a Tin Cup sequel? Let's leave his 12 on the 18th hole and, holing it out. Let's leave it there. I think we've done all we can do with Tin Cup.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Sequels are bad and prequels are worse.
White belts are still the way to go. Play it, drop it, roll it.
Oh, I'm dropping it.
Really? That's disappointing.
I never liked white belts. My wife bought me one. And
it's still...
No, I think it's one of those things where, if you're out there with a white belt on, you better be able to play golf.
You better be able to just smack it.
Because it's making a statement.
There was a time about like 10 years ago when Adidas golf was getting really, really big. When you looked on tour and from Dustin Johnson to Jason Day to Rory, it was white it was white belts all the way around.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to play it, though.
Okay.
Because I still think, man, like the right white belt look, right? It makes you look like a player. You feel like a player. I think there's I want to know about the way to go, but I still think there's a time for white belts. You say at no cost.
I guess there's also a personal thing now with, John here, 120 pounds, looking lean and mean.
Right. Svelte. When you're svelte like me, you can wear that white belt.
Who's won't see 120 pounds again in his lifetime. So
I'm gonna get you a nice looking white belt, I think. We continue on Play It Where It Lies. We're on Facebook.com/Bash Brothers Media, Twitter @Bash Bros Media. He's Stuart the Gent Conway. I'm John Wiener. Ryan Ballengee, Golf News Now, coming your way.
Golf puts you in tough spots. We play it where it lies.
We continue on Play It Where It Lies, real golf talk, and happy to welcome in a real golf expert right now, Golf News Net Ryan Ballengee, thegolfnewsnet.com, and get him on Twitter @Ryan Ballengee. Ryan, thanks for joining us. How you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on again.
Ryan, I want to look at the WGC match play this past weekend, but really the big story that came out of it, oddly enough, Matt Kuchar finds himself embroiled in probably the other big controversy of 2019 in golf, also involving Matt Kuchar. Who would have thought? But just what stood out to you, Ryan, about the whole Sergio Garcia Kuchar drama, if you will?
I think both guys don't really come out looking that great, and I think that's the reason why you heard so many tour players and so many caddies kind of side with Sergio in the end, even though from the average person's perspective, it seems all Sergio's fault that he didn't wait to hear Matt Kuchar's concession of a 4-inch putt before he tried to backhand one in that ultimately cost him the hole. I don't think anyone's trying to kind of downplay that Sergio should have waited a second, but it was interesting that once Kuchar called in the referee and then basically explained to him, I did not give him the putt, he kind of laid bare what was going to happen. And so I think a lot of players and caddies who have responded thought that was kind of sneaky as a way of, instead of trying to make it look as though it was just playing out in the open, that he made it official with an official so that he would win the hole. And I don't know if there's anything sinister to that so much, and I don't think there's a sinister intent to it whatsoever, but it is the way that it kind of unfolds that makes it seem like it's not entirely all Sergio looking bad. But either way, Matt Kuchar wins in the end. I think he was the better player that day. But the resulting kind of fallout from a few of those holes, the next hole where Sergio nearly fans one into the woods on the green, which I know he was trying to miss, but still not a good look. And then the discussion in the fairway of why didn't you give me the hole? I would have given you the hole. All that just, it doesn't turn out very well for either of them.
Yeah, I guess. Is there any thought in anybody's mind, and in yours in particular, that Matt Kuchar didn't know exactly what he was doing when he went to the referee?
I think he knew what was going on. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think when you call the official over and you say, no, I did not give him the putt, you were telling him I won the hole, and that's it.
Yeah.
And so the official gets to deliver the bad news to Sergio. He didn't give you the putt, Serge, so you lose the hole, instead of Matt Kuchar just saying, I didn't give you the putt.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was in part to avoid that confrontation, because it happened anyway. But yeah. I don't know if it was that, or if it was, hey, I can use the official here to make all this work out in my favor because I didn't give him the putt, and I don't have to deal with it as badly if the official says it versus me saying it.
Ryan, a big story, really the semifinals and the quarterfinals. I mean, Saturday morning with the Tiger-Rory matchup were so exciting. But, Tiger kind of handled that one easily. And I know Rory won a couple weeks ago at the Players' Championship and kind of seemed to quell those, well, can he get it done on Sunday? But just what do you make of kind of the trajectory of these two golfers and where they are right now, Tiger and Rory, a week out from Augusta?
I think on the Tiger side of things, I think we've underestimated how well he's played so far this year. If you look at his strokes gained against the field, he's in the top 10 in the PGA Tour. He hasn't played a whole lot of rounds, relatively speaking to some of his peers on the season, but he's up there. So he's gaining strokes on the field pretty much every time he plays. It's just not resulting in those finishes that we saw last March, where he basically played 3 times and nearly won all of them. So that's a little bit different. But what I think he showed in trying to beat Rory and eventually succeeding in doing so is that he could do it without his entire best stuff, that he could get around a golf course strategically still as well as anyone, whether it's mano-a-mano or whether it's him versus the field. He still has that, and that's not going anywhere. And I think those are good things for him to take forward to Augusta while he doesn't have to put all those extra miles on his tires while he gets ready for the Masters. He didn't have to play out the rest of the tournament thanks to Lucas Bjerregaard. And then you have Rory, on the other hand, which I guess we react so negatively to bad things that happen to him or that unfolds on himself. And I think that's because he is so consistent. We know he's such a good player. He finishes high so often. He gets in the final group more often than anyone else in the last couple of years. And so when he fails, which inevitably happens plenty of the time once you get there because winning's hard, we go, oh, he just can't close, he stinks. And then you look at his Masters finishes, and the last 4 are all in the top 10. So I'm more inclined to believe the good about Rory McIlroy, that he puts himself there very often, and that's going to mean he doesn't win as much because he's not Tiger. but that he puts himself there so often is important, and that does make him a very good player.
Yeah, do you think that with Rory, with his it seems that his putter seems to let him down. Do you think he puts too much pressure on those shots into the green to try and make those par fives, those big towering shots into par fives? He's trying to put too much pressure on himself to get there so he can two-putt birdie rather than, get around the green, chip up and make the one putt for the birdie.
I think with Rory that because he is such a lousy short iron and wedge player, and he just is. I love the guy, but he's terrible.
He's lousy. It is pathetic sometimes that this guy, as great as he is, 395 down the fairway, he's got a wedge in it, and he doesn't even come close to the green. It's nothing short of lousy, just like you said, Ryan.
If his club that he's hitting into a green has a 4 or a 5 in the first number of the loft, I'm concerned because it's usually a bad result. Yeah. And I think that does put a lot of pressure on his game because he knows he drives the ball so well. That's not going to change. He's not going to suddenly just start hitting 270-yard 3-irons like Tiger did for a number of years. That's not fun to him, so he's not going to do it. Mm-hmm. So he puts himself into this weird position pretty much on every hole. It's like, all right, Rory, you got 124 and hit sand wedge, and please hit it inside of 30 feet. And when he does, he's got a chance to make a good birdie. But then things happen like on the par 5 against Tiger where he fans one flat, fat and tries to hit it a cut, which that's not really his thing, and then he skulls one, and it's just a disaster. So there is a lot of pressure, I think, on his game in terms of putting and driving because he knows the middle part is not going to be that good.
Yeah.
Ryan, we're before we let you go, we're about to tee up our Tough Lies segment where we look at sort of slow play in the game, and not just on the PGA Tour, but in the game that we all play and love that brings us all together. How much is slow play a problem for you? Like when you go on the course, does it bug you? Does it keep you from playing when you go out and it's foursomes and fivesomes and you're playing a 5.5 hour round and you say, hey guys, I'm on the golf course. Let me spend 6 hours out here. How does it affect you and how do you see it personally?
I like to play fast golf. It's not because I don't like playing golf. It's just I don't like standing still. And so if I had to play a 5.5 hour round and they gave me like a rake and some gloves in between shots, I would do that rather than stand still. So I wouldn't have to hit the ball because at least it'd give me something to do. And so for me, I want to move as quickly as possible because I just don't want to stand still and wait for it to happen. But I enjoy the camaraderie that comes with a 4.5 or 5 hour round. I like spending time with my friends. It's kind of the point of being out there, right? Mm-hmm. So it is kind of on one hand, I want to keep moving. I want it to be done. And on the other hand, I don't want it to end because that means I go back to reality. So I guess it's got to be somewhere in between. You got to figure out a way to keep the course moving, but so that we establish kind of, the 4 hour round is fine again. And then if it's really slow, if you're in a scramble, if you're in a charity outing, if you're in a shotgun start, all right, you know what to expect. 5 hours is probably pretty reasonable. Probably going to be 5.5. But when I go out and play, I like to go out and play by myself a lot in my club because if I need to get around quickly, I know I can. I can go out in the middle of the day, fortunately because of my job, and I can go play 9 holes in an hour and 15 minutes. I can go play 18 holes in a little over 2.5 hours. So that's great. If I need to do it, I can do it. And if I can't, then okay, then I got to play on the weekend and play a little bit slow. But it's not because I don't enjoy the experience. It's just because I just can't stand still.
Yeah. Well, Ryan, I know you're not standing still over at thegolfnewsnet.com. You've done a great job building that site and really carving out a great spot for yourself in the golf world. Just tell us what we can expect over there and see as we're, sort of a week out from Augusta.
Yeah, we're ramping up for the Masters, already starting our fantasy picks. We've got our one-and-done picks already up. We're going to do our Masters top 15 or top 20 in the next couple of days to have it out well ahead of time. And then we'll focus a little bit of time this week, too, as well on the Augusta National Women's Amateur, the first ever amateur event for women to be played at Augusta National, 2 rounds at Champions Retreat nearby in Evans, Georgia. And then the final round itself on Saturday for the top 30 of the 72 that started. So we're going to spend some attention on that because it's historic, it's important, and hopefully it continues to grow over the coming years into something even a little bit bigger than it already is in its first year of existence. So we got Masters fever, and before you know it, we'll be turning on the TV on Sunday to watch kids chip and putt just to see how fast the greens are running. So it's coming.
It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll keep up the good work. Thank you for joining us, Ryan, here on Play It Where It Lies. You can get Ryan on Twitter at Ryan Ballengee, thegolfnewsnet.com. He's the owner and editor of Golf Newsnet. Ryan, thanks a lot. Enjoy the Masters next week. We'll talk to you again.
Thanks, Ryan.
All right, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
This is Play It Where It Lies, a Bash Brothers Media golf show.
Stuart and John here, and thanks.
You need the paper to see that it's Stuart and John.
I do. I have to look at something.
I know. We gotta bear with it. Whatever it takes, man. You play it where it lies. Whatever you gotta do.
Playing it where it lies. You know, with my eyesight and my memory at my age, you know, we have to be on top of everything.
Cards back there for you.
Yeah. If I start staring into the oblivion, I'm not. I'm searching for somebody to give me some hints.
Well, I tell you, searching for somebody, it's always great when the guest, the expert, comes on and says exactly what you said at the start of the show. But Stuart, I mean, Ryan, knows the tour inside out.
Sure.
He said at the end of the day, the tour players, the caddies, actually sided with Sergio.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised. No. I'm really not surprised. Get out the suspenders and the straw hat for Mr. Kuchar and let him get down back on the farm.
Can we do suspenders and straw hat? You can get us. I'm on Twitter at John Wiener BBM. He's at Conway Clubhouse. We need to get you to start firing off some more tweets from the clubhouse. Facebook.
I should do that.
Facebook.com/Bash Brothers Media. Of course, we encourage you to share the show, like the show, follow us. We want to get everybody into the show, into the mindset of Play It Where It Lies. And well, let's look now at our tough lies, because again, one thing is golf puts you in tough spots, and this is a segment where we can really look at the difficult questions and spend a little more time diving into it. Last week in our first show, I thought we had a really good discussion on simply, is Donald Trump still good for the game of golf? And slow play is an issue that it's been a hot button issue on the PGA Tour for a while, Stuart, but it informs every decision that I make about golf in my own life in every way. What's the course like? How many people are out there? Is it crowded? Can I get through? Is there, it is, I think we don't talk about enough how much slow play affects the game you and I play every day, and all of our listeners and audience does as well.
It is the worst part of it, because we all know one of the most difficult things of getting to play golf is knowing how long it's going to take you to finish the round of golf, and we know that the time people spend on the golf course is critical to the amount of people that play the game. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go right for the jugular on both the PGA Tour and the USGA. Neither of them, with the rules they've instigated, with the way that they handle the game, neither of those bodies are interested one iota in how long it takes to play the game of golf.
I think you're right.
They don't they have rules that they don't enforce, and it's kind of like, it's okay for you to. There is a time span, and it's okay for you to break the rule on how long it takes you to take a shot, but it's not okay to break the rule on I'm wearing metal spikes on a course that will only allow me to wear soft spikes. It's ludicrous, and until the PGA Tour and until the USGA make it a priority to get those players moving, I know they're playing for a lot of money, but the only way that they get away with it is because we don't have to watch every single shot and every player. And look at how we look at JB Holmes coming down the stretch when you're standing watching him throw grass up in the air for 5 minutes to hit a golf shot. It will send people away.
So you, at the tour level, at the PGA Tour level, and at the USGA level, you think it's a significant problem for them in terms of viewership? Because you're right, we don't always see how slow they can be, but you think it's a serious problem, like for the PGA Tour and the USGA, and they're not doing anything to curb it.
I do believe that. I believe there's players out there who are deliberately slow. And listen, gamesmanship's in everything, but when they're deliberately slow and they're taking more time to hit the golf ball, they are breaking the rules.
Do you think, though, that the PGA Tour and how they play influences. Like I think the slow play in amateur golf is not affected. It's like a different kind of slow play than the PGA Tour. You know what I mean? Or do you think it trickles down?
I think it trickles down, and I think the guy, we've all stood 120 yards from a green and watched a guy for 5 minutes run around plumb bobbing a putt that he gets within 5 feet of the hole, and then he starts the whole routine all over again. And it's like, listen, I'm not going to say the guy isn't going to make the putt, but for goodness sakes, he's not going to make it any easier by taking 5 minutes over it. And yes, it does trickle down. All these things about walking around the ball from every side. We're not playing Augusta. We're not playing for the Masters. We're not playing for a spot in the local PGA or even the local USGA tournament.
But then there's the other kind of slow play, which is like, I'm going to drink, I'm going to be merry, I'm going to hit 2 or 3 off the tee. Like in amateur golf, I think, Stuart, there's a different side of this discussion, which is the culture around golf. Like it's not, you go out to a Lake Carolina or whatever, it's not slow because people are pouring over 4.5 foot putts from 3 different ways. It's slow because we allow 5-somes on the course. It's okay to stop at the turn and get another 6-pack. I think that, and some people will tell you, that's what I mean. This is a real discussion because for me, I'm like, I want to play in 2.5 hours. But I heard Parsons, the PXG, the founder, he said, look, if you don't like 5.5 hour rounds, you need to find better company to play golf with. There are some people who want to play slow, who want to be out there for 6 hours on a Saturday. And that's when we go back to our play it, drop it, roll it segment. It's hard for me to tell those people, well, you shouldn't play golf this way. But at the same time, I kind of want to say that. But you know what I mean? It's a different deal in amateur golf, but it's also an issue.
I will take you back to something that Ryan said earlier, is that there are times when it's acceptable. There are times when it's okay to be slow. On a Tuesday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon when there's nobody in front of you and nobody behind you. And there's always times at every golf club where those times are available. And if you go out on a Saturday morning, which is the peak time, you need to pick it up.
Yeah.
You need to play the game in a reasonable amount of time. And if you can't, you need to let the group behind
it's
through.
About the others. Let me ask you this. Yeah. So what are some of the things that you do? Like, let's say we hit a course and it's 4-some on the tee, 4-some on the fairway, 4-some on the green. How do we cope with that as a player? I'll give you a quick story. I was on the back 9 this past week, drivable par 4. These guys are taking forever on the green. It's, getting to sunset. And I did I said, I was kind of, I'll go ahead and bang it. And if I happen to drive it all the way on the green, maybe it'll pick them up a little bit. And I'll be happy. And sure enough, I bombed it right there on the green. That was all just a segue so I could tell a story about how I drove the green. But it was kind of the thing, Stuart. It's like at a certain point, what is the etiquette in terms of playing through and just handling slow play on the course?
There are those people who will tell you, and having experienced, golf course management, there are those people who I'm one of them that believes that letting people play through actually slows down the game. By the time they stand aside, let you play through, jump back in again, because now the group is right up behind them again. So they're going to slow the group behind down.
And a lot of times there's nowhere to go in the first place.
There isn't. The reality is that the people just need to play faster. And if you want to have that amiable, friendly golf game, pick the right time to do it. Saturday morning, Friday afternoon, it's not the right time to do it.
Yeah, good point.
My point.
Tough Lies, this week on Play It Where It Lies, talking all things slow play, and I think it's an ever-evolving discussion, but I'm just like you, Stuart. I think part of it is our sensibility has changed. The same reason why we don't watch baseball anymore is the same reason why, no one wants a 5.5 hour round, because now it's just our clocks are quicker. I am a big time for 9 guy. I'm a huge time for 9 guy.
Yep.
In my schedule, and I know yours is the same, it's hard to find that what can become 4.5 hours. You give me the right spot, and I can play 9 holes in an hour and a half. I mean, that's almost just about right.
Yeah, it is for me. I'm a very fortunate individual.
Guy.
Hole 5 is right outside my front door and on my back door, and I can go around to 13, and it's 250 yards from my house.
Must be nice.
And a nice 9 holes, and I can do it the other way around as well. But then I tend to get distracted at the clubhouse on the way back.
I got to tell us about me driving the green, and you get to tell us, well, I live on the damn green.
Almost.
Yeah.
Almost. On the tee. But yeah, I think that you know, and I do believe it is all down to it's all really basically down to the USGA. Mm-hmm. You know,
see, I don't believe that.
Yeah, I think it's all down to them, and it's all down to them making penalties. There are penalties for all sorts of things that we do in the game of golf, but there's no penalty.
Yeah, but like the slow play for amateurs is not, you know, about like watching JB Holmes, and if USGA changes that. If JB Holmes starts playing a lot quicker, there will still be fivesomes stopping at the turn to get like subs and 6-packs and jamming things up on the course. It's a cultural thing. I don't know that like a USGA or PGA change is going to change it at the amateur level.
I think it will help change it at the amateur level. And I still they're the people, the custodians of our game. We have to look for them to put the right rules and the right etiquette in place for us to be able to perform well and in a timely manner, which is the most important thing, because if we don't do that, we are going to lose more and more players all the time.
Yeah. Well, speaking of custodians of the game and tough lies, next week, Masters Week, I'm really excited to tee up some of the more difficult questions, I think, surrounding Augusta National and Masters Week. But so much fun to get into and excitement next week for Masters Week as well. We're excited you're with us on Play It Where It Lies. Hashtag PIWIL. You can play it on the course. You can play it in your car. You can play it on the phone. Just make sure you play it where it lies.
The good, the bad, the hard in golf.
We play it where it lies. I'm John Wiener. He's Stuart the Gent Conway. And Stuart, I had a couple people remark after our first show last week. They said, Stuart really is the Gent. And I'm like, yeah, man.
Well, perhaps as we get into this and we start getting at loggerheads with each other, it might not be so much.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll become the Matt Kuchar of
we'll see
podcast.
It's all a facade. It's all just fraudulent. I heard that word fraudulent so many times. With Matt Kuchar. Yeah. One of the things here with Play It Where It Lies, as we talked about last week, certainly it's an approach to the game. You play it where it lies, as always. There are difficult spots that it puts you in, and your round, your enjoyability is always dictated mostly by how you manage those. But golf so many times sort of speaks to life as well, and it's a lifestyle. It's a way you live your life, and I don't think there's any better sort of example of that than in life or in golf or in anywhere, playing it where it lies. So we're going to give out a PIWIL award every week. And Stuart, who do you got, or what do you have from the world of golf this week?
I'm going. You know, this all tied in quite nicely with the slow play and everything else, because I'm giving mine to the winner of Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic.
Okay.
To Mr. McDowell, Graham McDowell there, and I'm giving it to him because he was struggling coming up at the end. He was doing well. They'd fallen into a 3-way tie. And I'm going to call out Chris Stroud, because Chris Stroud, it got to the point where I was watching him make a putt, and I thought, he is taking forever over. It was a long putt. And I got my phone. He looked at his putt from every different angle. And by the time I got my phone, he was standing next to the ball, and I put my timer on. And it took him 2 minutes to hit the ball. And for McDowell to hold his composure and not go over and hit him on the head with a putter, because trying to win for the first time in many years. And I know Stroud was trying to win too, or at least force a playoff. I thought McDowell was absolutely terrific and just did a great job there, holding and keeping the peace on it. Keep slow play out of this game.
Good for Graham getting a win. And he's a guy who plays super quick.
Yeah,
Graham throws it down and bangs it. So Graham,
I did tell him as well, and he took 32 seconds
from
better. Start to finish.
and won in a difficult spot. Graham McDowell gets Stewart's Play It Where It Lies award. Mine is going to be a very personal one this week, but and I'll try not to get emotional in talking about it. But if ever in life you're faced with you got to play it where it lies situation, is when you get some terrible health news. And so I'll just say quite simply, my good friend Mike Sands, he really should get this award every week, but it's my first chance to do it here on Play It Where It Lies. And Mike's going through a battle with a really, really difficult and rare form of cancer. It is his second or third bout with cancer, and it's just a long, nasty, awful battle with this terrible disease. And you talk about a guy who has gotten the toughest lie you could possibly get in life, the toughest break you could possibly get, to walk into that doctor's office like you walk into the woods and see your ball like right behind the tree. When you walk into that doctor's office and says, you have cancer, you've got 18 months to live. The way that Mike has played it where it lied has just been so much so that I knocked off the microphone. Yeah. The way that Mike has played it has been nothing short of inspirational to everybody around him, and for me personally. And he continues to fight through it. The last reports were in remission, through with the latest round of chemotherapy. So we're hoping Mike has punched it out into a better place. But when I think about somebody, Stuart, who in life has is playing it where it lies in the most bravest, courageous sense of the word, it's Mike Sands. So I want to give a shout out, but also the ultimate Play It Where It Lies award for me goes to Mike Sands and what he's dealing with.
Yeah. Kudos to you for picking that.
Time for our punch outs here on Play It Where It Lies, and we'll look at Valero Texas Open this week as we go out. Stuart, your favorite thing about Texas?
Barbecue.
Both of ours are food. Mine is breakfast tacos. But Texas barbecue, like, what's your favorite kind of barbecue?
Texas barbecue.
Yeah, which may or may not actually be barbecue.
I like dry barbecue.
It's not even barbecue.
It is barbecue.
We went through this whole show, and we're going to have to reset the whole thing on Texas barbecue. Your favorite thing about Texas isn't even real.
John, I think that's just a terrible thing to say.
It's terrible, I know, but okay, Texas barbecue. Well,
I could kick off like Sergio here as well.
It's a discussion that goes way back. Like, is Texas barbecue real barbecue? But it's food for me too. I'll go with the breakfast tacos. They were in Austin last week. San Antonio.
Oh, that's your old
this week. There is nothing like those breakfast tacos in Texas. Dancing Rabbit in the news. 4 public courses with a Masters-like experience. So golf.com put the list out this week. Interestingly enough, our good friend Will Bardwell, it's a great contributor. You can get him on Twitter at Will Bardwell, doing a lot of stuff now. Put an article on his Lion 4 blog, Stuart, that said Dancing Rabbit is, to use the word again, an absolute fraud when it offers this Augusta-like experience. He said it's anything but. Do you agree or disagree? How do you see it?
I like playing there, but no, it's not an Augusta-like experience at Dancing Rabbit. It certainly isn't. The course, I think they've made major improvements to it. The Azaleas is a tough course. But no, I can't agree with that.
I like it in terms of the setting, and I think that it has an Augusta feel to it.
Lots of azaleas.
There's azalea when the course is plush and popping, and it's been that. It hasn't been that way. It seems like in a while. The golf industry, I think, especially in Mississippi, Dancing Rabbit has sort of suffered, and it's trying to come back a little bit in terms of the condition. I think when it's really right, the feel of the place kind of gives you that sort of natural serenity, this awe that you have in looking at the surroundings. But I think the golf course itself, which was Will's point, Augusta, what makes it so great is it's so strategic. Every hole in itself is so good. I think the setting lives up to it, but I think the golf course in no way. It gets kind of, just a little gimmicky and funky at times. So interestingly enough, Kevin Sutherland Sutherland, real quick, wins down at your course, Fallen Oak.
Yeah, Fallen Oak this morning. Yeah, and did a
in
great
a Monday
job on
playoff.
that. Monday playoff. I think it only lasted 2 holes. It might have only been one. I can't remember.
At the end of the day, they got to stay at at the Beau Rivage and play. It's just not a bad. You talk about slow play. I'd have probably been out there on 17 taking my damn time if it meant I get another night on the coast. And Masters show next week. I cannot wait.
Looking forward to that. I mean, Masters Week is always a great week, apart from the darn music. But anyway, I'll learn to live with it. You got me going already. It's like listening to Paco Bell's Canon at every wedding you ever go to or something.
A little bit. But yeah, no, I mean, but that is it, Stuart. Masters Week. It's the traditions and the symbols. When you hear the music, you know what time it is. When you see the bridge, you know what time it is. When you hear Jim Nantz, you know what time it is. From the white uniforms of the caddies to the green of the jacket and the scoreboard, there is nothing more unique than the Augusta National experience in Masters
Week. Very true. Yeah, and I can't wait to see it. I don't have any early picks, but I have some top 5 favorites.
Well, I mean, we're going to have to invite everybody back next week. I can't wait for it. It'll be our 3rd show on Play It Where It Lies, and really time to shift the gears and get into it next week. So big thanks to Ryan Ballengee for joining us, Golf News Net. Get him on Twitter at Ryan Ballengee. Of course, you can get this show a number of ways. Facebook.com/Bash Brothers Media. We're on Twitter at Bash Bros Media. And if you're listening with the podcast type, we're on Google Play, Spotify, Podbean, and we appreciate you watching and listening as well. I encourage you to share the show. And always appreciate Gulf States Golf Cars partnership and Stuart the Gent Conway.
No, thank you.
It's always fun, my friend. Next week,
thank you, John.
Play It Where It Lies, Masters Edition. Thanks for teaming up with us.
Real golf talk. Play It Where It Lies. A Bash Brothers Media golf show.